back to Life with Pops. I hope you're all doing well today, and this is the third instalment of our true romance in Manila, and it's a true story that happened in 2008. So let's get on with the story, and I hope you enjoy it. Well, the good news is that we had all the paperwork in place, and we were ready to go. We were fired up, and we decided to head off to a shopping mall called Trinoma, because Eve had kindly told me the day before that there were two things that we required now. We required a dress for Eve to get married in, and of course the wedding rings that we needed 2 wedding rings. So we were off. We got up early morning, and we got a taxi, and we headed off to Trinoma to the shopping mall. In the back of the taxi, we held hands as we made our way there. Eve held my hand and she said to me, "Now Anthony, this is our time. We've had all the stress, all the trauma of these last 4 weeks. Now we have to really enjoy it, because as you know, time is not on our side. We need to enjoy every moment." And she related how she'd read accounts in books and in magazines about people being in love, sharing exciting moments, and all the romantic adventures that they'd enjoyed. But when you compare it to ours was like off the cuff. It just happened. We had to be prepared to just go with the flow, and we were carried on extremes of emotion, which was really heart-rendering. And only a certain number of people have ever shared this experience. It was, in fact, a once-in-a-lifetime moment. I wanted to be able to share it with you because it's good, because it's an upbuilding experience that you can pass on to other people, and you can relate your own story about it. So I squeezed her hand and I said, "Thank you, Eve. Thank you for all your help and support. It's a privilege to be marrying you on Saturday. You have made me the happiest man in the world." And she said, "Likewise, Anthony, I'm the happiest woman in the world at this time." We then shared a tender moment, and we kissed as we pulled up to the shopping centre. Yeah, finally we were doing something for us, something for our wedding day. Inside, people were going about the Christmas shopping. It was very busy, a very busy time, but we knew we had to prepare. After Eve had a look in her wardrobe to find a dress, nothing was suitable, so I was prepared for a long haul. I know how difficult it is to find the exact thing. So was Eve. She said we could be here all day, Anthony, looking for something. So we were both prepared, and we settled in for a good search. We went into a store called Landmark. I'm sure many Filipino people will know that. It's a big, elegant store. And outside there were people playing and singing carols. It was a really wonderful atmosphere, and we were there to find something that would really fit the occasion. In fact, it was really nice, and I felt like a prince taking a princess to be fitted out for a wedding day. Really, really very special. Yeah, and after 10 minutes of looking for dresses, Eva suddenly exclaimed, "Anthony, I think I found one." So she picked up 2 different sizes of the dress and went off to the changing rooms, where one of the assistants was going to give her a hand to try them on. I was genuinely surprised, because I thought, wow, we could have been here all day. Anyway, I was singing along to carols, stood outside the changing rooms waiting for Eve, and I know that the groom is not supposed to see the bride in a wedding dress before her wedding day, but nothing about our wedding had been normal. So we've always been swimming against the tide. So I was thinking to myself, and how many times have you read in glossy magazines about people who have planned their weddings, a year in advance? Every detail has to be perfect. Even the napkins have got to have a certain motif on, and everything has to be just so, with thousands being spent on the wedding. But ours was just one wedding that broke all the conventional rules, and How many couples, for example, find out on the Thursday that they can get married and the wedding is then going to be on the Saturday? Yeah, we had to be really adaptable, and that's what happened to us. And my mind was thinking all these things while I waited for Eve coming out of the changing area. Yeah, we had to dance through hoops, and just consider yourself being in the same position. Could you do that? Could you be able to be so adaptable? And the answer is yes, of course you would, because it means you can marry the person whom you love, whom you really care, whom you cherish. And of course, it just goes with the territory, doesn't it? You'll do anything to make sure you can get what you need to do and get married. And then suddenly a voice said, "Anthony, how do I look?" And I turned round to see a vision, a beautiful vision of Eve stood there in her wedding gown. She was absolutely beautiful and radiant. To see her in a wedding gown, I was suddenly overcome, and I said to her, "It's absolutely perfect, darling." Then she glided away out of sight until the actual wedding day. Wow, our guardian angels were certainly with us that morning, and we were so blessed to get the wedding dress so quickly. Now we had to go find the two wedding bands. So we went upstairs in the same store in Landmark up to the jewellery section to go and find the two wedding rings. We'd been looking at these actually earlier in the weeks before, and we'd seen a couple, the man and the woman's wedding ring, and we thought, yeah, if everything goes to plan, we'll come back and get those. So as we made our way into the store, we were praying and hoping those two same wedding rings would still be there. And to our amazement and surprise, yes, the rings were there, and they'd also been reduced in price, so we got them both at a really good price. And as we were talking, the other members of the staff came round, and Eve was beginning to tell them about her story, and it was really quite an emotional and beautiful experience. And getting those wedding rings was the second part of our adventure that morning, and we were just so happy and delighted that things were finally going our way. We left the store hand in hand. It was our timeless, magical moment that we'd made together. We'd finally done it, and we were just so happy. We felt invincible. That moment is burnt into my memory forever. And we'd overcome so many hurdles. We were now on the right track. And we then kissed. We held each other tightly. I can remember Eve crying a few tears, and I cried a few tears as well. I'll never forget that moment when finally our dreams were coming true. Now for the wedding day. That morning I awoke. It was a clear blue sky, about 6 a.m. in the morning, and it was so beautiful. So I went into Eve and I gently woke her, and I said, "Eve, can you hear the wedding bells in the distance?" Eve said, "No." I said, "Listen carefully. The angels are ringing the wedding bells." And she said, "Oh yes, darling, I can hear them now." She smiled at me and she said, "I love you. Let's get ready." And we had a little kiss, and we started to get ready for our wedding day. We had two guests. We had Patrick and we had Francis, Eve's sons, and Eve went to arouse them as I went to make a drink, and the day was set to go. The wedding was arranged for 11 a.m. in the morning, and I said to Eve, "We must leave here by about 9 at the latest, earlier if we can, because the traffic is horrendous." And if anybody's been to Manila, you'll know that the traffic is horrendous. Every day, doesn't matter, it's busy. The guys seemed to take ages to get ready. We couldn't get them motivated. And after a lot of pushing, we eventually managed to leave the condo at 9:30. I was starting to panic at this time because I knew the traffic was so bad. And I was really getting worried now. We headed out onto the main road, and we'd been trying to call a taxi for the past 20 minutes, but to no avail. No one was coming. So we had to walk along the side of the road and try and hail a passing taxi. And this is no mean feat, believe me. And all the time the dust is coming up, and we just had to pray and hope that we could get some transport soon. Time was moving on. And by this time it was now 9:55, and I was really starting to panic. If it was possible for a man to have a baby, I was definitely having a baby by this time. Anyway, 5 minutes later, an FX taxi pulled up, which is a taxi which is shared by about 10 people. We managed to push our way in and get into this taxi. And was it a pleasant experience? Not really, because the kids were attracted to me. With me being the alien, they come to me and want to sit on my knee and just kept looking up at me. And I did at that moment feel like an alien. And I thought to myself, where's my nice limousine? Where is my nice limousine? Anyway, we managed to get to the MRT station. The MRT is like a light metro train that runs high above the traffic in Manila. And we managed to get on there. And we managed to get to the station, and we ran up and we made our way and waited for the next train to come. Time was still moving on and I was panicking. Yeah, you'd think with getting on the train it would be easy because it's high above the traffic, nice train, but no. That train is always packed. The carriages are always absolutely bursting. And I said to Eve, we have to catch the next train. To get to the register office on time, we must catch this next train. So I said, when the doors open, we have to form like a scrum and we have to go through those doors, and I don't care who's there, we've got to get on that train. And when the train came and the doors opened, we made our way in. We were like the England rugby team at the time, and we pushed through and eventually we got onto the train. And at 10:46 precisely, we arrived at North Avenue Station. We waited for the doors to open, we jumped out the train and we ran straight into the Trinoma shopping mall. And the guards were looking at us thinking, what's happening? Anyway, we went past the guards. I said, we're late for a wedding, we're late for a wedding. We went past the guards and we ran through the shopping centre with people looking at us. We were like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. We were just going for it. We knew we had to get there or we'd miss our chance. So we ran, and when we got to the other doors on the far side, the guards with the guns were looking at us. I said, we're late for a wedding, we're going to a wedding. Okay, and they let us go through. It was not like your normal wedding, is it? Then we managed to board a taxi that was outside the shopping centre straight to the register office, and we got there at 11:05. We had just made it. Whilst in the taxi, I said to Eve, these new shoes are really rubbing me, they really hurt. She said, never mind, they look nice. And in the register office now we'd landed. Myself and the two guys were escorted to a room to get ready to get changed. And Eve was escorted to another room to get changed. And one of the ladies in the register office went with Eve so they could help to prepare her with a dress and a hair and one thing and another. And the guys, we were going to wear the Barong Tagalog, which is the Philippine national shirt, and just some nice trousers and shoes. And we were nearly ready to be married at last. Then suddenly a door opened and Eve came round to join us, and she looked absolutely beautiful and radiant. And we made our way then to the judge's room for us to be married at long last. And we gathered there, all four of us. There was myself, there was Eva, there was Patrick, and there were Francis. Now we were in the wedding ceremony. At this intimate and meaningful gathering, the atmosphere was really enchanting. And then suddenly the judge spoke and he said, Anthony, can I have the rings? And he put my ring in front of Eve and her ring in front of me. And he said, do you know that in the Philippines the wedding rings are worn on the right hand and not the left? I looked at Eve and I thought, I hope it fits on my right hand, that ring, because I've measured it for my left hand. Yeah, and the ceremony was so moving, my spirits were soaring, I was so happy. And then it came to the part where we had to exchange our vows. And the judge looked at us both and he said, for the exchanging of vows, all the vows will be said in Tagalog. And I looked, I couldn't speak Tagalog. the judge said, "Don't worry, Anthony, just repeat the vows. After me, I will say them, just repeat what I'm saying." And we both spoke our vows to each other. And the look on Eve's face when I said the vows in Tagalog, it was just beautiful. I will never forget that look. And then it came to the point where we put the rings on each other's fingers. Eve's went on her hand easily. Mine was a bit more forced, but it did eventually go, and we were very relieved about that part. And then to complete the service, we had to hold our hands clasped together, straight out in front of us, and then the judge put his hands on top of ours, so we were like three joined together, and he said some lovely words and a prayer, and we prayed, and it was really beautiful and moving. Yes, it was only in a register office, but for Eve and I, it was like Westminster Cathedral or York Cathedral. It was just so beautiful, and it meant so much after all this time for us. We were just on cloud nine. At this point, I can only say that if heaven feels like paradise, then we were both in paradise. Eva then said to me, "In the Philippines, Anthony, the husband is the cornerstone of the marriage of the house. The wife is the shining light that lights the way." And I said, yes, I said, we will now have a wonderful marriage together, and we will share every moment. And I said to her, "Now can you hear those wedding bells chiming?" She said, "Yes, I can hear the wedding bells chiming, because if you believe and you go the full way, then the magic will come true." And the Christmas magic was just beautiful at that time. And of course, our fairy tale came true. So we've completed our fairy tale, our romance, we were married, our fairy tale dream came true. And did we live happily ever after? Yes, we would live happily ever after. But unfortunately, the authorities hadn't finished with us. And in a later video, I'll tell you about the fights that we had with the authorities. But our marriage is wonderful. We're still together to this day, and everything is fine. But we still had some more hurdles and calamities to get through. So thank you for watching. I've really enjoyed relating this story to you. It's brought back so many happy and wonderful memories. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for coming back to my channel Life with Pops, and I hope to see you all again very soon in the future. Have a great day, guys. Bye bye for now.